Hey you guys, I just wanted to make a very brief video about how I have been mounting my handmade carved rubber stamps. It's fairly self-explanatory once you understand the materials that I use. So I'm using these nice acrylic blocks and they really help to give a nice firm solid saturated color stamp image. So first let's just talk about why we're mounting them. If you have a stamp that you've carved on a 1/2 inch piece of rubber, some of the rubber erasers are quite wide or thick and or long or wider. They can be up to, sometimes I think you can get ready cut rubber at 3/4 inch also. But if you have 1/2 inch or wider, then you don't really need a mount for them because you have enough stamp rubber to hold on to and stamp your pad without getting ink all over your fingers, okay? But as you'll notice, most of these stamps that I've carved are on a thinner piece of rubber. They're more like 1/4 inch rubber. And although I have had some success stamping these without a mount, I do like keeping my fingers completely off the ink so that I don't contaminate whatever project I'm working on. So this is the solution that I have come up with. I've bought a package of acrylic mounts and I think they're available on Amazon. I don't own any stock in Amazon. I just know that you can get them in a variety of sizes, and you can even buy like a 3-pack with 3 different dimensions of mounts. I have purchased these individually and together in a couple in a packet of 2 or more. I can't remember, I got them quite a while ago, so I just don't remember if I got them at a Joann's or a Hobby Lobby or a Michael's. So you could maybe make a call and see if they carry these acrylic mounts before you make the trip, or check on them the next time you're at those stores. So this is a really good one. This is a Stampabilities mount, and this one is, oh, it is 3x3. Okay, it's just got 90-degree corners. This is a 3x3, but it's got scalloped edges, right? So these stamps right here will fit most of these mounts perfectly. So then what I do is I cover the surface with double stick tape. You can also use a double stick, any kind of double stick adhesive will work. I'm just using tape because I have a lot of it. And I just put it on here, and when it starts to lose its tack, I just add more double stick tape. And that allows me to be able to put this stamp, this one will have to fit at an angle, and just press down gently, no gouging with fingernails because it could leave a mark and change the image. Press down, and that will stick more than sufficiently for using a stamp pad and then stamping your image. And then I usually stamp a couple on a blank sheet of paper just to get the ink off. And if you want, at that point, you can just peel this right off. It just comes right off. This one fits on there beautifully. And then you can see exactly where your stamp is. It makes it a lot easier to line it up rather than a solid opaque mount like a piece of wood or something else that you can't see through. I also have a 2x2 here that works really well for some of the smaller images. And once you have your stamp image and you know that it's a good stamp, you could also use an X-Acto blade and very carefully trim, not too close to the stamp, but you could trim, let me do this, trim some of this excess stamp closer to the image. You just don't want to undercut the rubber stamp, okay? That will not that won't work well for the stamp. You want to give it as good a solid base of rubber as you can for the support under the image. But I could definitely cut some more of this away, and then you'd be able to see it and exactly where your stamp is when you go to make the image. Okay, and again, if this just starts losing its tack and if you notice that the mount falls off, just go ahead. You can peel off the old double stick tape if you'd rather, but I usually just come back in and I get a couple more pieces of tape and I just go right over the stuff that's already on there. Okay, I also have this real little one which works for some of the smaller stamps. I don't really have too many small stamps. I have this little tiny heart right here, but it's on a 1/2 inch piece of rubber. These were a box of rubber erasers in the shape of dice, and I use them to carve some real small images. You could put it on this small mount if you wanted to, but it's just as easy to hold the stamp and put it on your stamp pad that way. Okay, so the only other thing here would be this long one. This works really well for stamps that are long, obviously. This is a stampable or mountable area is good 6 inches by 1.5, 1 3/4 inches. And it works really well for this banner stamp that I created right here. And then I can just turn it over and see where my stamp is and stamp that. But these are just a real nice assist if you have some hand carved stamps. And it just makes the stamping so much easier. If you're not going to do a lot of stamping, then you can just hold your stamp very gingerly with your fingers and get a good stamp image on there. Also remember, and if you've done a lot of stamping, you already know this, but one of the things that keeps your fingers from getting inked this way by putting your stamp down here like this is to keep your stamp flat like that and then bring your pad to the stamp. And just make sure you're stamping flat so that you're not getting stamp ink all over the tabletop. And then very carefully pick that up. And you know how to stamp. You guys are good at this already. Just lay it down, and you just don't want to bounce it too much or shift it or shake it. You want it to be a nice straight on image without movement once it hits the surface of the paper. Okay, and I like to make sure I push down on all that area. I also have a Baron, which I will demonstrate another time, but it's used in a lot of printmaking, and it helps to push down onto the stamp, and then you lift it straight up, and there you have your image. Okay. Thanks for watching.